Bernie absolutely roared in last night's Democratic debate in Florida. Let's watch a compilation of some of his best lines here, courtesy of TYT.
Let's be clear. You're looking at the senator who introduced the most comprehensive climate change legislation in the history of the United States Senate. Now, I hope that Secretary Clinton would join me if we're serious about climate change, about imposing a tax on carbon on the fossil fuel industry and making massive investments in energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And by the way, while we are on the subject of energy, I hope you'll join me in ending fracking in the United States of America. The saying is that the United States should continue to be the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all of our people. I think if the rest of the world can do it, we can. And by the way, not only are we being ripped off by the drug companies, we are spending far, far more per capita on health care than any other major country on earth. You may not think the American people are prepared to stand up to the insurance companies or the drug companies. I think they are. I do not support vigilantes, and that is a horrific statement, an unfair statement to make. I will stand in terms of my political career, fighting for workers, fighting for the poorest people in this country. Madam Secretary, I will match my record against yours any day of the week.
Why is this important? Do you have reason to believe that she says one thing in private and another in public?
Well, what I have said is that when you get, I believe it is $225,000 for giving a speech, and she gave several speeches to Goldman Sachs, one of the Wall Street financial institutions whose greed and illegal behavior helped destroy our economy a number of years ago. When you get paid $225,000, that means that that speech must have been an extraordinarily wonderful speech.
So does this mean that you would not think she would have to disclose?
I would think that a speech so great that you got paid so much money for, you would like to share it with the American people. So I think she should.
The government has to quit making money off of lending money to young people to get their education.
Karen, let's go back to you.
I think that what Secretary Clinton just said is absolutely right. I think I said it many months before she said it, but thanks for copying a very good idea. Clearly, the Secretary's words to Wall Street has really intimidated them, and that is why they have given her $15 million in campaign contributions. There is nobody in the United States Congress who has taken on the Koch brothers who want to destroy Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and virtually every federal program passed since the 1930s more than Bernie Sanders. And I am proud that the gentleman who is head of Goldman Sachs, now he didn't give me $225,000 for speaking fees. He said I was dangerous, and he is right. I am dangerous for Wall Street.
He ran circles around her, and it was almost embarrassing for her. So yet again, she did the same thing, where half the time she argues, I'm more progressive than Bernie, I'm going to go further than Bernie, my plan on Wall Street cracks down more. And then the other half the time, she's like, I'm a progressive who likes to get things done, and I'm more moderate, and I'm more centrist, and I'll work more across the aisle, and we'll hold hands with the right. Wait, which is it, Hillary? And she contradicts herself. Like last night, she did it in a matter of like under a minute, she contradicted herself. At one point, while talking about universal health care and universal education, she said, quote, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And then after Bernie fires back real quick and you say, you just don't want us to catch up to all the other modern nations who already do universal health care, and many of them do universal education. As soon as Bernie said that, she's like, I am in favor of those things. Wait. You just said if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Then when he pushes you on it, you go, no, I'm in favor of those things. In fact, I'm more progressive than Bernie. Hillary, that doesn't make any sense. Which is it? Is it, oh my God, sounds too good to be true, we can't do it, sorry, that's just the reality of it, look at the numbers, look at the deficit, look at the debt, this is what she said before, and then once Bernie's like, stop being ridiculous, of course we can do it, she's like, no, I know we can do it. Which is it? So, and I thought it was too obvious yesterday about that. You know, one of my tweets during the debate, which got the most retweets, was when I pointed that out. So, and obviously, you know, my followers are likely biased in favor of Bernie anyway, but all the other tweets, you know, it's not like I didn't hit Hillary in other tweets, but that one seemed to resonate a lot because people go, oh, that is what just happened. Oh, she did just say she's more progressive, and then she also said she's more moderate. I don't get it. You know, we should get something trending, hashtag chameleon Hillary. Which is it? She changes all the time. Then also, I love when Bernie hit her with, well, I take it you'll join me in banning fracking, right? Getting rid of fracking in the U.S. Because she was trying to pretend like she's more progressive on climate change legislation and she's the one that wants to move in the right direction. And she even said at one point, I couldn't believe she said this in a Democratic primary debate because it's a horrible strategy. She's like, what we need to do is we need to gradually transition from, fossil fuels to coal to natural gas, then to renewable energy. So it's like, yeah. Renewable energy, renewable flenergy. I don't care. Push it down the road. If I'm president, I'm not really going to do shit on that front. But hey, I have taken money from lobbyists affiliated with the industry, so I guess we're going to go natural gas, coal. Yeah. Oh, that's not good. You don't say that in a Democratic primary. Bernie's like, no, let's ban fracking. How about that? And this is where he gets bigger applause lines and stuff. And he kept hitting her on the issue of corruption. You know, it's funny because you get the sense that behind the scenes, his staffers and everybody else, they're like, okay, you kind of already landed that attack. Let's move on to the next one. Or at least this is my perception of it. But Bernie may know on some level that, no, this is the winning ticket right here. If I just keep coming back to that same point, it's going to get super uncomfortable for her, and she's not going to have an answer. And so when you keep bringing it up, she has to keep bringing up her bullshit response, and it sounds even worse with every new time she says it. So, you know, for those of you who don't know, her response is, I'm the person who went to Wall Street before the crash and said, hey, you gotta stop it. The first time she said it, there were memes going around Twitter of what's-his-face from Full House. Like, cut it out! Come on, what are you doing? That's what she says she does to Wall Street. Well, Hillary, number one, I guess you're not a good leader because it didn't work. Number two, well, isn't policy the real thing here? Like you say, oh, I'm so against them, but you're on the record as supporting deregulation. So it doesn't matter if you give them the ability to do it and you're not regulating them, well, then the fact that you go to them and say, be responsible, and they're not responsible, that means you're dead wrong on the policy. So that's not a good response, and she thinks it's a good response. I'm actually stunned that her and her team didn't come up with a more persuasive response since Bernie keeps hitting her on that. He keeps hitting her, and she keeps saying this silly thing. Like, oh, and by the way, President Obama takes money too from Wall Street. And it's not like he's a get-out-of-jail-free card. Like, every Democrat on the planet loves Obama so much that he, by definition, can do nothing wrong. No, people can look at him and say, hey, I agree with A, B, and C that he did, but X, Y, and Z, he didn't really go far enough. And that's another thing. She said at one point during the debate, this was unbelievable. You know, I wish Bernie would go after George W. Bush as much as he goes after Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Seriously? That's going to be your line of attack. Bernie Sanders isn't sufficiently anti-George W. Bush. Do you know nothing about Bernie Sanders? But of course she knows that he's super anti-George W. Bush. She's just trying to use hacky attacks now. That's the sign of desperation, man. And oh my God, don't get me started on her surrogates. Her surrogates, all they have is the gotcha stuff where they pretend like, sexist, you're a Bernie bro because you actually care that Hillary takes money from Wall Street and won't crack down on them sufficiently, and you actually care that she was in favor of the Iraq War and is significantly hawkish and wants to send more people to do intervention. But anyway, you're sexist because you're against Hillary for perfectly valid and legitimate reasons. Bernie Sanders overwhelmingly won. And when you go to the time poll, for example, now last time in the last debate, Bernie had, I think it was about 80% in the time poll, which is a crushing victory. You know what he had this time? 89%. So what does this mean going forward? Well, on March 15th, we have a bunch of elections. Now, in all of the polls on March 15th, Bernie's down in every single one. But he pulled off Michigan when he was down on average 21.4 points. So is that really an indication of how it's going to go? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, somebody pointed out a lot of these polls are done where the polling organizations call people's landlines. If you're calling a landline, they're going to be more biased in favor of Hillary because they're older people, and older people are more likely to support Hillary. Younger people are more likely to support Bernie. So is it possible he loses every state on March 15th? It is. It really is, okay? But the thing is, after March 15th, that's when it really opens up, and those states favor Bernie. They favor him demographically. In some polls, they already favor him, and then she's in a lot of trouble. But he may even be competitive in Illinois and Ohio on March 15th. Because he took Michigan out of nowhere, and he keeps winning these debates, and he's winning overwhelmingly. So if people are listening and they're hearing his message, and they get the Wall Street angle of this, and that she's bought and he's not, she's in a lot of trouble. She's in a lot of trouble. But look, it's yet to be seen. Like I said, if I had to break down the percentages and tell you what I think would happen right now, it's still Hillary's the favorite, 60% favorite in my view. Bernie's about 40%. But he keeps upping his chances because he keeps hammering her on all the right points.